Wow. Hello. Hi, Ayushree.
Hi, Jagat.
You. Vijita is joining us now. I think Vijita, he may join in a few minutes.
Yeah.
Good to have you.
Yeah.
We'll just wait a few minutes.
Yes.
Let's just wait for Vijita.
Yeah.
So how was your day? All good?
Good. I've been working on that
Live.
plan.
We are live, by the way, so don't reveal too
Yes.
much of our secret plans. But,
Yeah. No. Good day. I've been working on a few things and then was just preparing for this. Looking forward to this webinar. The
Yeah.
first one with Vidphone.
Yeah, the first one for us in a long time.
Yeah. Akhil was just telling that to me, mentioning that it's been some time, So good to be here.
Yeah. So, just very quickly, let's get started. I'll just wait,
Yeah.
just maybe one more message.
Yeah.
Vijita also is quite busy, but I think he said he is coming in. So,
Yeah.
right. So, this is also going to go out to all of our community. So, I want to say hello to all the community, be it on Facebook. Oh, wow. Good to see you back, Chief.
Yes.
After
How are
a long
you?
time. The familiar background, the familiar headphones, familiar voice.
Yes. Same old. Huh? Some
It's
things
good.
don't change. Not yet upgraded.
No. So, the layout also is pretty much the same as it was.
yeah. Upstairs. Yes.
Wonderful. Good to see you and glad to have you back. And
Yeah.
Ayushree is a new team member of ours.
Hi,
So
Hello,
Ayushree. Nice to meet
Vijeta.
you.
Hello. Nice to meet you too.
Yeah. Good.
Have been hearing a
yeah,
lot about you from Jagat
Arre
since I
baapre.
have started
yeah,
talking to him. Yeah, he has been good to finally meet you here.
Yeah.
I think one of the good things is what's great about I think both of you is that you've done a lot of ecosystem work. Vijeta, of course, Vijeta, I think she was at CWE. Yeah,
Okay.
also
Yeah.
in that familiar Domlur NASCOM premises where we also bumped in.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised you
Yes.
guys didn't bump into each other.
Yeah.
So anyway, so great to have you because we love doing this kind of initiatives for the ecosystem. Vijeta, of course,
Yes.
has been a mentor to me on this whole thing and a great friend as well. Ayushree, I think she's done a lot of work with CWE
Yeah.
previously with the women entrepreneurs, and
Yes.
I always we were almost sitting next to each other at the warehouse pretty much. So I've
Yeah.
seen her also work very hard and committed. So over to you both for a few minutes, and then maybe I will get into the presentation and go through. So probably first, Vijita, I think the lady first, probably.
Yeah. Sure. Hi. So this is no. Ayushree, go ahead, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thanks, Jagat. Lovely to be here finally. And this is the first time I am on a webinar with Vidphone. And this has been quite an interesting journey, I must say, like you were telling, the journey with CWE over the last 4 years, I think. Yeah, almost 4 years, and got an opportunity to really work very closely with a lot of startups. Obviously, mainly focused on women, since CWE is a women-focused platform. And from early stage to growth stage to all industries, because it's industry agnostic. So a lot of learning along the way, I would say, being a part of the ecosystem at NASCOM, at GinServe, and being a part of so many I was handling a lot of partner relationships at CWE, the events, trainings, and a few working with a lot of mentors, investors. So it's been a great journey. And Vidphone, I think I met Jagat 3 years back first at NASCOM, and they did a demo for us once and helped us live stream one of CWE's events back then. And so back to 2023, and I got reconnected to Jagat when I was looking, to a shift in my career right now, and looking to join something in the tech space, and something where I can create a little more value with the products and get my experience. I think that's when I met Jagat, and very happy to be here. And I really connect to Jagat's mission, where Jagat also believes in the community building and of the greater good for the entrepreneurs through what we are building at Vidphone. So I think that's where we connected, and let's see where it goes from here. I'm confident that we would be doing a lot of good work here on. So
Me
yes,
too. It
excited.
goes where you want it to go. it goes where you want it to go, and I'm also
Yes,
very confident of your good work. So
yes.
as well,
Thanks,
I think
Jagat.
a
Thanks.
do-gooder. So always been a do-gooder, a great friend also, and it's so amazing to have such a good vibe in the ecosystem. This is what actually makes sustainable growth, in my view. So over to you, Chief. I mean, your journey as well, a little bit. Last we were doing this when you were at your last gig at TIE. Now, of course, a different role. You're on the investment banking and the venture capital side of things. So yeah, over to you.
Yeah, sure. Thanks so much, Jagat, and great to be back here and having a conversation. So yes, previous stint, for nearly 3 years with the Thai Bangalore team. Of course, I continue staying there as a volunteer, and it's always wonderful to support ecosystems and communities and industry bodies and associations. Of course, Jagat, you know that I've been also active with this Vicky Manthan program, with BCIC, and all these places because I do know that it's a great way to give back also, and also this is a fantastic way to connect with startups and like-minded folks. So that's what it's all about. And yes, Dexter Angels, we have done nearly 30 investments in the last few years. Early stage investments, average ticket size about 1 crore, and we will do more. And quite a few of our startups like Sapel, Tags, Jaipur Watch Company, so many others have been actually coming on to Shark Tank also, which seems to be a kind of way to get the larger ecosystem of India to know about the
Yeah,
various startups. So I think that's something really new that is happening. That is really good. And the other thing is, yes, staying active with the various ecosystems. A shout out to people, of course, from TIE and also from NASCOM, the Center of Excellence, the Data Science AI team, NASCOM IoT team, because that's where you also are sitting out of the KDM NASCOM building, right? And I think the Karnataka Digital Economies folks are also doing a lot of good work trying to help the startups, bringing investor connect programs, helping them to get go to market, and basically create as much of opportunity for people to talk to each other, and good things will happen. And of course, Jagat, you have been an Elevate winner as well. So that's, I think, one of the very nice events or
appreciate it. Yeah,
activities that happen to help the community. So that's what it's all about, and whatever we can do, we should do for each other. And of course, we must give a shout out, Jagat, for our founders feed,
oh yeah,
WhatsApp, yeah, of the WhatsApp groups, and so many other WhatsApp groups. But yeah, the founders feed is something that we started during the pandemic. I think it's close to 400 now, but we should add more people, and definitely founders can get a lot of support from those activities. So this is what I wanted to say, Jagat. It's 5:08. I had a very few simple ecosystem updates to talk about,
yes,
but we
please.
can. But let's break it up. If you want something else, you want
No,
to.
no, I'm happy. I mean, in case maybe Vijita, if you have something, you can go, and then later on, maybe I should a little bit on her thoughts and my thoughts as well. So
Yeah. Sure. So I just keep it simple. What we're doing here is that, Jagat, we have discussed that we should help the community, we should help the ecosystem. We want to just let them know what's happening and where are the opportunities available for them. So what we mean by that is, as a founder, right, Jagat, you would look for more customers, you'd look for people to collaborate with, partner with. You would look at ways to maybe get your fresh round of funding, and you'd also look for awareness. You want PR, you want visibility. So how can we all combine forces? How can we help each other out? And how can we actually study and leverage the ecosystem? Because touch wood, we are not just talking about Bangalore, we're talking about beyond Bangalore, we're talking about a pan-India global thing. But let's start with the basics. So Jagat, if it's with your permission,
yeah,
and of
sure.
course Ayushri, I'll just not take too much. I'm just going to share my
No, no,
screen.
the time is all yours, Vijita. You have a lot of time, as much as you want,
No, not at all, not at
because
all.
I think everyone's going to go to learn from this, so it's fantastic.
Yes. So I just first is, can I just check with you guys if you all can see
All
my
good.
screen?
Yes, good old PowerPoint.
Yeah. Just keeping it simple. So as I said, we'll just be talking about the updates. What is the way you can leverage what's happening in terms of links to some of the programs pan India, and funding for the startups, etc. So of course, first I should talk about Dexter Angels. Anyone who wants to apply, I mean, I just, you can take a screenshot, and or you can just go to our websites or whatever it is. But we are looking for early stage funding. As I said, we have done about 30 investments. Okay, sector agnostic, but obviously things like crypto and other things we don't really do. Proper solid businesses, growth, MRR, ARRs, and all, and good founders who are knowing what they're doing. That's what we're looking for. Okay. And at this Jagat, sorry, it's not too very good, but what I've done is, and this is all on our WhatsApp groups also, by the way, right? What we were talking about, all the various WhatsApp groups that we are part of. So a
Yeah,
lot of this information we have added over there, and some of this, for example, this IIT Mandi is doing something. The Atal Innovation Missions are doing something. I've got some information putting out there, in various places. So I just want to talk just a few things that we don't want to just make it like a monologue. But Jagat, what we want is how can we help people out, right? That's the fundamental thing. And I think this is going to be a progression. We are going to be talking about remote leadership next, as I understand. But also, what I would like to emphasize is that folks, leverage platforms like Vidphone, become part of our WhatsApp group, and anything else that we can do for if you put some request out. I think Jagat, what's happening is people are looking for hiring. So I've been
Mhm.
sharing whatever updates that I can about where people are either looking for jobs or where there is opportunities going on. I think Jagat, you saw that I've been also sharing about this, builders camp and hackathons, etc., etc. That is being done because this is how the community can come together
Yeah.
and take advantage of this, right? This, I mean, enterprises are still spending money in Bangalore. So you should
Right.
come for all these events and everything. And of course, Jagat, where you sit at NASCOM and KDM, the great folks who are trying to put together community events, we would love to help you all to get there and support you guys. Okay. So I am done for now, and then we can start off. Yeah.
Right. So,
Ayush,
I feel
and
like very quickly before I probably go
Yeah,
next with a small deck. And
yeah,
so before that, Vijeta, also you were just talking about our funding, and you know that over the last 2 years we had a lot of good interest from a lot of not only angels, VCs, and I just had one of the best conversations this morning with my investors as well. I think in these times, right, it's very very critical that people are building companies for the long term, and really, as I said in the thing where I would not say maybe like I should separate the men and the boys, but I would say maybe separate the calves from the cows. Okay, maybe these are very interesting times for building a company simply because the biggest source of oxygen, which was funding, has dried up, but life's got to go on. So that's the context in which this whole conversation is about, where when there's a global recession, things are looking down, but end of the day, I think people have to. The show's got to go on, and that's really what this is about. So, I should be very quickly to you now. So you've met with a lot of women founders and things like that. Uh,
yeah.
what are three takeaways with your 4 years odd experience dealing with a lot of early stage startups and founders? Yeah.
Yeah, I think I think networking is a very, very key thing that we discovered during my work at CWE. It was, I think networking, women really, they are a little apprehensive maybe to first come out. But then, once you do these events, you invite them, or even virtual in the last 2 years, I would say. We did a lot of virtual events while I was there, and that was, I think, one thing that got the community together. And I would not say just networking for business to talk about business, but just to talk about what's going on in their life, the challenges they are facing, and how. So it's a community basically. All the founders just coming together and sharing what they are feeling. So I think there was something similar you are doing at Vidphone too as part of the webinars. So that is one, I would say, networking. And then the next is I found a lot of women not very ready for, I mean, they would think that they need funding, but actually the main problem was not funding. The main problem was really to get that business plan together.
As it
They would,
always is.
yeah, I mean, they would come to us and they would say that, we want to become members and you have to get us funding. But we would always tell them that's not what we'll do. We'll get you prepared for funding. There are a lot of steps blocks before you reach that funding stage. So I think that is another one. And the last one, I think, how the important role of mentors. I saw, some very amazing mentors I have worked with I have been privileged to work with, I would say, in the last 4 years. And I would not just say about the business leaders, but also role model entrepreneurs, I would call them, a few of them, who have built enterprises, who had started up, and now they are role model for other early stage ones. So their growth has been, like, I have seen their growth over the last 4 years, and now they're helping other startups. So yeah, networking, funding, mentorship are a few things, I would say that there's a lot of learning in
Yes,
these
that
lines.
was excellent. Those were excellent points, and I think I know it was a quick question to think of three things, but I think fantastic. You got out three very
Yeah,
relevant things there. So
yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
So maybe now I'll just cut into the
yes,
topic for some time,
yeah,
and maybe both of you also can give us some of your
yeah,
thoughts on what we're
yeah,
talking about.
yeah.
Um, So let me just share my screen. And okay. Of course, everyone uses Canva now, so do we. We like Canva. I hope everything's visible and audible. All good? Hello?
Yeah, Jagat. It looks good,
All right.
looks good.
Super.
Visible.
All right, maybe I'll take quick 15 minutes, just run through a few of these slides, and then we'll discuss and then Q&A. So yeah, so remote leadership for hybrids, for startup founders. This is of course part of our hybrid theory series that we started some time back, and I think looking at the current state of affairs generally, we need something more of a theoretical concepts, because the whole world around us has changed, and there is, as I said, there is recession, there seems negativity, but at the same time, people have to still pay their bills. So I think there needs to be some new theory before that actually comes into practice, and I think that's why we started hybrid theory about work-life balance, virtual and physical connections, etc. So one of the things that I felt was about remote leadership, right? And to be honest, even through the conversations with Ayushree, I learned a lot about certain things that I think are really relevant that people may have. And overall, we've kind of evolved this presentation based on that and some learnings. Being a video first company, where our bread and butter is people sit at home and do this, but at the same time, I also believe in the value of association. There is a lot of serendipity and good things happen when people, like-minded people, are together. Nothing can replace actually physical proximity as well. So that being said, just a quick intro about what we do. We say welcome to the video universe. We are very proud Indian company. We're inspired by India, and hopefully we're building for the world. Some of our products that have seen that are either in advanced stage of incubation or already with paying customers. Hawk, which is our video AI and surveillance product. Charaka, which is our remote vitals and video based healthcare solution. VBot, which is probably India's first virtual presence device, and of course Vidphone, which is an enterprise grade video communications platform for organizations, right? So of course we have a lot more than this, but these are some of the main things that we're working on. Founders, I want to talk about a little bit about who we are. Jagat Iyer, and some of you may see this, may know me, but building stuff since I think 2010, and probably one of the earlier guys to jump into this whole startup culture. I'm an engineer from NIT Allahabad, now called Prayagraj. I love cricket. I'm a golfer, and I also love playing guitars. So that's about, to me, the rounded nature, which I think is important for everyone going further. Akhil, of course, my co-founder and CTO from MS, is MS in Rochester, and it's been about 6 years with us, and I'm very happy to see his whole growth and how he's able to actually build wonderful full stack products across across sectors. And also, as Vijeta and everyone will know, Akhil is also a very integral part of this whole community and building out this whole ecosystem, whatever we can do. We're also backed by some wonderful investors in the beginning. These are all fantastic guys, from Google's, Karandeep, who's the ex CFO of Flipkart as well. So we have a Harvard Med School professor, Sandeep Dar, who's the MD of Goldman Sachs. We have partners at EY, KPMG, and some more investors as well. We won the national, NIPP Telecom Award, and then after that, the 2021 Emerging Unicorn Award. Of course, we also won the Elevate Award. I should probably put that here. So it was nice to win Elevate. I'm really, we're proud. I think Akhil, me, I usually also studied in, Bangalore Christ College. So Chandni as well, who's from Jain. So I think we are very much Bangalorean. There are many startups in Bangalore, but there are very few Bangalorean startups. And so I think we are one of the few, and we're very proud to have that, Elevate grant, because, we love Karnataka. So yeah, so rise of remote leadership. Just want a quick check. Everything good? Ayushree, Vijeta, audience, able to hear me? See the video?
Yes,
everything?
yes, yes.
Absolutely clear.
Thanks for that. Yeah, thank you. Now, so rise of remote leadership. Now, let's start with the why, right? Like I think Simon Sinek says, I think it's a very right way to look at it. We started the why for startup founders simply because we have evolved, right? There is no other explanation to this, in my view. There's no other way things could be otherwise. Things have to evolve. And a large part of it is this post-pandemic hangover that I call. if I talk in 2019, like the good old days when we bumped into each other in the coffee machines at NASCOM, there was no option of really looking at, working from home or something like this. It was never there. Thanks to the pandemic and, of course, the right time video communications tools like us and others, it was really wonderful to kind of help that whole period when the whole world was confused what to do. Then suddenly we discovered video conferencing, and people thought that, okay, now why do I have to go to office? So there is this post-pandemic hangover, a looming global recession. So the old methods don't work. We need new things, for example. And of course, the pros and cons of remote work itself. Like, I'm not against remote work. As I said, like Vidphone, we as a video communications company, we would love it if everyone is home video conferencing. But, there are pros and cons as with everything. And it's important to kind of take a nuanced and balanced approach going forward, right? So, but at the end of the day, as I said, the show must go on, and better than ever, right? So the natural state of the world is to get better, is what we think. We're supposedly a very advanced civilization. We're building all this technology around the world that's probably never been seen for the past, few thousands of years. So we really have no option but to embrace remote or hybrid leadership, and that's the way we look at it. And the important thing to understand is really, the old idea of leadership itself, which is, you think of a leadership, and the first thing that comes to you is a hierarchy or a pyramid, right? That's the industrial or factory era of leadership. I would say, where someone was in a coal mine, you had a bunch of, bonded laborers, and there would be a supervisor there, after them, telling them to not slack and to produce. Knowledge leadership, in my experience, past 13 years of building this company and even otherwise, I think is very different in terms of how it is, right? And the difference is really between capital and creativity. Now, if I look at capital, if I give you 1 rupee, I lose 1 rupee, right? But in knowledge, if I give you a snippet of knowledge, you can actually go, and I do not lose that snippet of knowledge. So it's a difference in the mindset. And this really comes also to the comparison between, let's say, a freedom versus a fear mindset. Now, if people are afraid, of course, they will conform, and there will be certain boundaries around which, things happen. Now, when people have the freedom, obviously you see that a lot more things are possible. But if that's not channeled right, then that's only going to lead, down south. So I think it's also a mindset thing of fear versus freedom, and to think about how we, in terms of corporate culture, in terms of leading companies in different capacities, how do we think about these new kind of, dimensions? Very, very closely related is the idea of subjugation versus empowerment, right? In fact, as I was discussing with Ayushree, and as everybody would know, Vijeta would know, and Akhil, of course, as well knows. So to me, it's always about, can we have, can I have leaders who I work with, as opposed to having, saying I'm a leader and have a bunch of followers, right? It's a lot easier when you have a bunch of leaders together than having, you're a leader and you have a bunch of followers, or rather A player and a B player kind of thought process. I'm not saying that people who are not leaders are not good, but eventually this topic is about leadership, and that's what we're talking about. So I think one of the ways to think about it is really, how can we empower leadership, right? To become a leader, one has to really work, pretty hard on what's happening. So let's kind of democratize that whole process. Now, when we look at the real transition, it's from scarcity to abundance, right? And that's what Web 2 to Web 3 is moving towards. We're moving towards more devices, more decentralization. So that's really the way to think about, right? And while learning to channelize and inspire this abundance versus trying to manage scarcity, right? So I think these are some of our key concepts. So just want to take a quick break here. Vijeta or Ayushree, anyone want to butt in, kind of tell me about what you're thinking so far. Vijeta also, I think maybe you also have to leave. You've spent some good time with us. I think you have some other.
Yeah, got to get out. But okay, yeah. So I think nicely done, Jagat, as always. Good research work, good pointers. Yes, I think the practices and also some of the ways that startup founders and all were operating during the pandemic, when you could not travel, you could not do physical meetings, you had to rely on platforms like Vidphone to connect and talk and discuss and even screen share and present, do demos. That I think those practices, those benefits, and those learnings can be leveraged when you're working. And I think I don't know whether it's the right thing or wrong thing, but like even now many knowledge workers are preferring to work from home, from their hometowns. They want to avoid too much of traveling and getting stuck in traffic. So these kind of things could be leveraged very smartly and effectively. That's important. There has to be ways to make sure that things don't slip out and there are no leakages in terms of work getting done and customers, and especially we're dealing with customers and clients. But yeah, this makes a lot of sense, Jagat. Thanks. Yeah.
Super. So, Ayushri, quick thoughts before Vijeta probably logs off.
Yeah, I think I agree, Jagat. And like Jeta said, a lot of it just suddenly went online, with the pandemic. I mean, there were very few companies, I think, who were doing this earlier. And I think even we could not imagine that so much work could be done online. We were just put into that and everything went online, and the video conferencing, we saw that. But obviously, like you said, I think that, like, there's a pros and cons of it. Obviously, hybrid remote work saves a lot of time, I feel, and sometimes, depending on the nature of work, it does. If you're working from home, sometimes a lot more can be done. But again, I think now going forward, hybrid is the way to go, because where you need some interaction, because like you said, we human interaction, nothing can beat that. But again, I mean, there's a lot that can be done through Vidphone also, right? We are building something that can enable that. So yes, I think like I resonate with what you have put together.
Super. So, Chief, Vijeta, if you want to kind of maybe parting notes and then you can log off, and we take this further.
Yeah, thank you so much once again, Ayushri and Jagat. So, what I would love to tell the audience, I'm sure Jagat, you're going to be putting this out in various forums and everything. One is we have to come together as an ecosystem and community. We all do know that there are very tough challenges and things will not be so easy. But at the same time, the challenges are there, but these are certain growth opportunities. And these are ways that we can, by partnering, building associations, we can do this. From the Dexter Angels, of course, Dexter Capital, while we remember we are a investment banking and M&A, that's what we do, large ticket size. But Dexter Angels, we're definitely looking to support our portfolio companies and also look at more companies to invest in early stage. But having said that, strictly from an ecosystem community point of view, Jagat, we are doing a lot of work with the NASCOMs, the TIE Bangalore, BCIC, which I've been sharing with you. And also there's Fiki Manthan, and there are so many others who are trying to put together special interest groups, etc. We should get good friends like Shivi Jain with the German Accelerator, Vipul who works with the Kotak Bank, Sonu Gupta from Coder's Brain. And, we bring all these communities together, and not just Bangalore. We should also look at how we can help, say, people from Mangalore or Mysore or even outside. I've been traveling to Kerala quite a bit because of the Kerala Startup Mission folks. I've gone to Startup Odisha. I've been to Kolkata, and
Indore as
there are,
well.
yes, Indore. And so all these
Guwahati, I
communities.
think Ayushri also would want to do some things in Assam.
Sure, sure. Oh, fantastic. Yeah, I mean, amazing people,
Yeah.
right? And you know that I volunteer with Head Start. I'm a mentor with T-Hub. I'm a mentor with Kerala Startup. Why I'm saying all this is, how do we bring the synergies
Yeah.
together? There are some wonderful people out there, right? Head Start
Yes.
itself has got some people who are investors. There are people who are running their own companies. They are all willing to support. They're all willing to help. So we have to keep this relentless drive to achieve whatever we can and bring people together. Jagat, I think with the series that you're working on, the leadership series, bringing people together, let's identify folks that we would love to talk to and get them to share what is possible. I think that's
Yes,
what
yes.
we will do.
So we get this
And
ball rolling. I think the
yeah,
ball had stopped for a while because there was some other, missiles to handle, but
of
now
course,
we're
of
back to
course.
rolling the ball. So
Of course, see, and you're a founder you're an entrepreneur. You got to focus on your team. You got to focus on sales, customers, enterprise customers, startup customers. So that is your priority. But this
Yeah.
leveraging of the community ecosystem is something that we should do, and we should give you all the support as well, which I will, of course, without any doubt, give it. Okay,
sure, definitely.
right. Thank you. And I need to log off. I apologize for that. I have one more call and meeting.
No,
So, but
thanks a
take
lot
care.
for
Thanks,
your time.
Vijeta. Yeah.
As always. Yeah.
And
Thank
and
you.
we'll look up the presentation and I'll look up it
Yes, yes.
obviously on the Vidphone. Yeah. Thanks so
Super,
much.
sir.
Take
Thank you.
care.
Thank
Have a
you.
great evening. Bye-bye. Bye.
Yeah,
Bye.
yeah.
All right. So wonderful to have Vijeta as always. He's been such an integral part of the whole, community. And we do this every time. So there may be a time when, out of 300, maybe 250, 300 webinars, there may be a time when one or two times I have missed something. But Vijeta is somebody who's so dedicated and, ecosystem building is ingrained in the way he is. So that's something I look up to. So really cool. So what I'll do is we jump back to the presentation, close that out, and then maybe some parting notes, and then we can all disperse.
Yes.
So I'll just get back to sharing my screen. All right. So we were at this whole mindset change that we're seeing with this knowledge economy, and thereby which requires knowledge leadership. So the next part is, this is about what is our mission here. What are we trying to do? Why are we building these things, and why is it so important today to talk about hybrid leadership or hybrid tools? The bottom line is that our goal is, and one of the things that we want to do is to empower 1 million remote startup leaders. This might sound crazy, but actually it's not. India has 1.4 billion people. We're the largest country today in the world. We have beaten China. I think my thought was that we beat it last year in terms of population, but most stats say recently it's happened. 1.4 billion people. I'm sure we can find 1 million remote startup leaders. Now, in India, we must understand that the per capita is $3,000 US per annum per capita. Now in the US, it's 66,000. So we don't need to create $1 million companies. We need to create, as we go forward, we will have solopreneurs who would earn, $10,000 an annum, which is probably 8 lakhs per year. I think that would be a good way to look at it, and that's what we mean by democratizing entrepreneurship. So a few of the points that I think are very important here. Firstly, is we look at what we call life-changing business education. Everybody today wants to run a startup, right? I know so many friends, and I'm sure a lot of friends who all want to start a company, and many of them do start companies, but very few of them continue running that company. And the startup failure rate is around 97% to 99%, whichever statistic you go by, and that's a shocking thing. The reason is that because nobody really learns to start up before you start up, right? If somebody wants to drive a car, they go to a driving school, or if somebody wants to play music, they go to a class. Engineering, you go to college. But where do you go to learn to run a startup or to build a startup? So I think this is very important. Vocational learning versus startup leadership. How do you start and run a company, right? Second is that startup failure. Everyone looks at million and billion dollar valuations, but nobody thinks about the default state of a startup, as Eric Ries says, which is death. And 97% are going to fail. So the first thing that people need to understand is that the default state of a startup is death, not great success. So unless you survive that initial period, I don't see any reason or any way how you can thrive. You may survive, and you may kind of build, raise some money and kind of be in the news for a couple of days, but it's really not going to sustain as a company and as an institution, right? So, and the third thing about business education that I think is important that people start understanding, something I learned in my life through my journey, is that leading itself is not a destination, it's a journey, right? Just because you have a managerial tag or you call yourself a founder, that does not change anything, right? It's really about the journey that you go through and the different challenges and how you're handling that. So to understand leadership as not like a point, step function, but rather as a kind of gradual journey is, I think, important to understand, right? These are some principles how more people can start, leading specifically probably startups. The team and tools that you need to survive, not just survive, but to thrive, right? A startup by definition is many people. So many people might be great individually, but they might struggle to work together with other people, right? They may not have the right tools to actually go ahead. So all the tools that we use till today, including video conferencing and webinars, are all built pre-pandemic, okay? It's all for offline leadership. So we really need to discover new tools, new ways of doing things. It's very, very important. Hybrid meetings or hybrid demands going beyond scheduled video meetings, right? We talk about this example of to somebody with a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So today to people with video conferencing solutions, everything looks like a scheduled video meeting. That's not the way life works. You need the hybrid era requires advanced tools. These may be unscheduled meetings. It may be always on office spaces. We talk about asynchronous communication and also serendipitous communication, which is very, very important. These are all things that are not yet addressed, but will be very critical going forward. And the third, as all of us were talking about, the ecosystem, the community, right? Not just the online community, but increasingly now also the offline community, where it's rediscovering, what the offline relationships are about. Our founders feed, as Vijeta was talking, so 300 odd startup founders there, all of them fantastically driven. We have so much of potential and collaboration that happens there on a day-to-day basis. You have NASCOM, TIE, STPI, like Vijeta also mentioned. You have KDEM, Startup Karnataka, KSAM, a lot of wonderful folks, and we're very, it's a wonderful space to be in, especially in Bangalore and some places like this in India, where this can actually happen, right? We can actually make this happen very, very fast. So the need of the hour here is a P2P startup and founder ecosystem where everyone's able to grow together, right? And this is what we're really looking to do. Hopefully, the outcome of this would be that we could de-risk and simplify the startup journey for a lot of people. I know it seems like a dream, but yeah, I think with the right technology and tools, it could be possible, right? It could be possible to de-risk and simplify the whole startup journey. So I want to put together this 5 things here, right, which are going to actually give you the tools and the mindset to take on this new era, right, when we're building companies. The number one thing is the emphasis on emotional intelligence. Right? So yes, a lot of startups are associated with geekery, with geeks, software, programming, and a very logical and probably analytical way of looking at things. Right? That's great. There's nothing wrong with that, but that's not the end of life, right? I think we must remember that startups are companies. They're not just a product. Most companies that we see, and that I would say 90% of companies are all, about a single product. And I think that's like working with blinds, like a horse, having blinds. It kind of limits your vision and even your own, what you can do. So I think one way to look at it is really startups are companies, and we need to look at the people, what's behind, all of these products, and, how can we kind of collaborate to make things happen. It's all about relationships versus a transactional exchange. Now, all of us are seeing about the mass firings that's happening, right? Last year, there may be mass hirings, and next year, there will be again mass hirings. So we are not machines, right? People need to understand that ultimately, nobody really wants jobs. People want careers and lifestyles, right? So let us look to build relationships and, as opposed to transactional exchange, saying, here's what we do and here's what you do, right? I think that's a change in the way that people, collaborate and work together. A desire and a willingness to create a better world and to improve the status quo. Now, this is what startups are about. Why would, a typical question that every startup gets is that, how would you beat your competition, for example, right? Why can't X or Y do what you do? Now, if that was the case, then they would be doing everything. But that's not the case. So the whole idea is that things always get better. And that's the reason you need startups and new companies to come. However, disruption is overrated. We see this whole jargonization of disruption and some of these words. So people don't like disruption, right? Nobody likes coronavirus. Nobody likes suddenly the Russian war. So it's not in our nature to like disruption. So one of the things that startups have always been associated with is disruption. Either you go big or you go home, right? We don't need to go anywhere, right? You need to understand that this is a lifestyle, this is a journey that you will take, and understand that enterprises at least don't want disruption. Enterprises want improvement, increment, and growth. So let's start thinking more in these lines. The second is something that's very, I think, close to my heart and probably Ayushree as well. It is a focus on diversity and inclusion. It's a much talked about topic, probably less in India, but probably more outside, but it's very relevant in India as well, and more so in the tech and the startup ecosystem. Right? Remember that code is gender neutral. Right? You don't look at a piece of code and say, is it him or her? And also understand that, I could build the same program, I could build the same product using multiple languages, right? It could be on native Java, or it could be on iOS, it could be Swift, it could be Django. Multiple languages and frameworks can achieve similar end results. So that's a case for including, for diversity and inclusion as well. So we call this the way of the tech. And some of the great inspirations are, of course, people like Ada Lovelace and others who, have already pioneered a lot of things in technology. And so there is no reason why more and more women, and also, I'd say that tomorrow, maybe more physically challenged people, economically weaker sections, the non-IIT, IIM stereotype, and we see all of these things happen in India, right? It's not just about diversity in terms of men or women. While I would love to see a lot more, women startup founders and a lot more activity there, a lot more directors on boards who are from, who are women. But I would like to say that we started the company with 33%, kind of ratio, 66 odd, and now we are back. I think happy to have Ayushree back after a long cycle. We've had other ratios, but it's wonderful to actually have this, because I think in India we are very uniquely positioned to unleash the women's startup movement. We also worked along with CWE, as Ayushri said, also with the Thai women, where we did really a fantastic hybrid event at MG Road. I don't know, maybe 100 odd women founders, and it's really wonderful to see that vibrancy and the innovation that they are bringing to the table. Right? So it becomes, let's kind of look very, very closely at diversity inclusion, not as something that we need to do to look good, but more importantly as a way of life, as really appreciating people for what they are exactly, forgetting about gender qualification. Right? People will know that even at our company, we don't look at really your education background much. We don't really care about those things, right? So everyone's accepted, and as long as you learn the skills, the tools, and able to speak the language, right, and probably share the culture at some level and improve the culture, I think there should be space for everybody. The third is, again, a much talked about topic. We talk about this work-life balance, but I would always think about it as work-life integration. Right? Work-life balance requires that you compromise on something to level out something else. Right? Now, I don't think that's necessarily true. I think there is a very, very important difference between balance and integration. Right? When you look at even, I look very deeply, even when we try to compete with international companies, a lot of our ethos, the culture, the way we do things is quite rooted in our culture. And one of the things about this place, about India and the way we do things, it's a very colorful culture. We have a celebration, every second day there are festivals. Today is, of course, Mahashivratri. So happy Mahashivratri to everyone, just on that note. So we always have celebrations and festivals. And it's a very colorful culture. So what's the root cause of this is that we are not a one-track minded thinking. Our lifestyle involves doing good, making money, enjoying pursuits like music and sports, and this really is going to build what we call this work-life integration. We see that a lot of people, especially at tech jobs, are already they have obesity issues, there is stress issues, there are all kinds of problems that come with sedentary kind of tech work, which is well known. I don't have that issue. I do a lot of tech work, but one would say that I'm reasonably fit. I would dedicate that to sports and music in a big way, both golf as well as cricket and music and stuff like this. So I think as companies, we need to think about the people who are in the companies, right? And how can they kind of benefit? The multiplier effect happens in life with connecting seemingly disconnected happenings or experiences, right? Many times today when we solve products, we look at some solution that we saw somewhere else or an inspiration, and that's how really life compounds and you're able to get better. And the process of company building, I think Chetak joined us. Wonderful to have you, Chetak, and you're such a wonderful guy, and it's good to have you back. We're of course restarting these, so hopefully we get more people together to look at company building as a holistic way of life versus a funding or an exit event. Right? Today, every startup, the founder wants to, like Ayushri was saying, a founder wants to raise money before they know the market, the problem, the technology, the product. I think that's not probably the right thing to do. Right? Definitely not. So as opposed to looking at a funding or for raising money or a valuation, people should look at company building as a way of life, as delivering value and really being in control of your destiny. A couple of last points before I close out and probably take some views from Ayushri and others. So a couple of points very close to my heart. The role of technology. Now, I've had the fortune of building these things from 2010, 12, 13 years of product development, maybe about probably 50 products maybe in my life so far, many more to come. And technology has obviously changed my life, and not just using technology, but building technology, and more importantly, seeing the impact of that technology on people, right? How the people benefit, be it in an office space, be it a normal a person at home, be it in education, in healthcare, you name it, right? When lives get better because of something that we build, I think everyone feels great. So, as I said, most of the technology has not yet been built. Okay, all of it is to be built, and a way to look at it is hammer and nail versus a Swiss Army knife approach. Now, don't only look at, let's say, scheduled meetings to address the whole hybrid workspace or the hybrid work lifestyle. You need multiple tools. You need multiple ways of handling different things. A sales use case will require a different set of tools and processes and team compared to a marketing use case or a customer support use case or an engineering use case, right? So have this approach of discovering new technology, of figuring out and experimenting, and really finding the ones that suit you the best. The second is that not just better or improved, but new and different solutions. I was watching a wonderful TED talk a few days ago where it says it's something to do with the winner's way or something like this. They talk about how only 3% of the world's, of the world does things differently. And these are the people who actually are the winners. It's very easy for people to do the same thing harder or better. It's very, very different to do different things. Very, very difficult to do different things. But the irony is that the winners all are people who do different things, not things differently, as opposed to maybe what Shiv Khera says. But you have to look at how to do things differently. An example of this would be how you would see our own industry, the video conferencing industry, over 2 years. If you look at our competition, you would see that they're all doing pretty much the same thing, right? Maybe one is a little better than the other in one thing, but it really doesn't matter which you're on. But when you do something totally different, like what we do at Vidphone, I would say that it's very difficult for people to go back to something like that once they've experienced the power and variety and flexibility of something like what we do. So it's important to do different things also and new things. We're going to see a decentralization of tech dependence. Now, we being an Indian company, we're very, very proud of being an Indian company. And we get very, very disappointed when everybody is only talking to us about companies in America that they're using. And that's not the end of the world. We do know a lot of SaaS companies in India that have started and many of us use. But in video conferencing, we see like a huge amount of concentration and dependence on Western or American companies. Now, I think we need to build indigenous solutions simply because, not because they may not be good, but simply because we need to have more options in the market. And I think we have very, very smart developers in India. And we have the biggest, Web3/crypto ecosystem in the world by far. So it's critical for us to decentralize this tech dependence. What will make this happen really is a new and improved tech literacy, right? I keep telling some people that even I have some discussions. In the olden days, the people had scribes who would read out letters to the king or to other people. Now it is like programming is similar to that. Many people don't know how to code, and I think don't understand the language of tech product development. And with the current setup, it's never going to change. You may go no code, but learning to code, I would say, is a lot more fundamentally rooting than just learning no code solutions. So yeah, technology is really big. Let's kind of all be learners and kind of move on new things there. The last one, which I would call adaptive leadership. This is something that I've actually discovered over my own journey. Is that as a leader, it's critical to be adaptive. It's very easy to get caught up in your vision and your mission and your company goals. But what's critical is the ability to react to uncertain times and to uncertain situations and to your own circumstances. So adaptive leadership is number 5. Gone are the times of big 5-year plans. I think any CEO or even world leader who says they know what's happening in 5 years is joking. So I would say 1 year, 2 years is the maximum time frame somebody would say is kind of maybe long term. Okay, so live in the moment, embrace the universe's happenings, and navigate with confidence. I think it's very critical to understand that you may have a way of doing things, but the universe or things unfold in its own ways. And it would be very naive and kind of crazy to think that this way is the only way, right? So the way things happen and the way things unfold are the way it unfolds. So I would say, like, for all companies, have an adaptive strategy, something like maybe what Bruce Lee says, be like water, or no way as a way, right? These are the real principles to live by the hybrid ecosystem. Rethinking hierarchies and org structures. We really need to think it's no more about just having an open workspace or a flat, flat hierarchy. It's really about thinking about networks, about empowerment and communication as well. Okay? And this is going to come not just by believing in something that's going to happen. It's actually knowing how to do new things. Okay, and this is really how we look at how remote leadership is going to evolve. So very quickly, the remote leadership toolkit, 5 things: an emotional intelligence emphasis, a focus on diversity and inclusion. We have work-life integration and attention to that, role of technology more than ever before, and of course, adaptive leadership, right? So that was what I wanted to share today. I really appreciate everyone's time. Now, we maybe some quick Q&A with people who are here, and then it's goodbye and Maharatri, Mahashivratri celebration. So let's get off the screen. Yes, Ayushree, great. So quickly, your thoughts, and then maybe.
Yeah, no, Jagat, beautifully put together, I would say. Some very key points there, where we talk about. In fact, no, I was just reading something yesterday, and there was a thought that came across, and it was, it's very crucial to invest in tools, because when we talk about adaptive, like we have to be adaptive to our environment or situations or to the, people we work with. It's also very crucial that we invest in the right kind of tools from the beginning, because that builds out, it gives us the leverage that a situation comes. Any situation might happen, right? You don't know what's happening like in 5 years. So we all were in a situation like COVID in the last 2 years, and all of us saw how in different ways everyone adapted, and it must have been different for some companies or some startups or people, but easier for others. But I think investing in the right tools is very important. I mean, it's a build up that you do. You cannot think that you only reach a certain stage, and it doesn't have to be all expensive paid tools. It might be small things that keeps the organization together. I mean, it makes it more organized. So I think that is very important. And like you said, the representation, it should. Women is obviously one thing that I closely relate myself with, having been worked in that space. I've seen, very like sometimes you ask the question, right? Why do we have the word women entrepreneurship, and why not just entrepreneurship? So there's again 2 sides to it, because I have seen that obviously we should call it entrepreneurship only, because I think the struggles at a level are same for both men and women who are entrepreneurs. But again, there are certain things that women still face in the kind of world we are in. Suppose a woman tomorrow goes for a loan, she's still asked like, who's your husband or who's your father? I mean, as a guarantor. And she might be running a proper business, like, she might be running a business which is making profit. And so, I mean, these are the small kinds of things that we have heard and, over the last. And so it's very important, I think, like what we were talking about, the representation and culture wise also, because like Vijeta was also saying, the focus should also be on the tier 2, tier 3 cities. I mean, it's not just the metros anymore, because I feel there's a lot of talent out there, a lot of people, startups trying to do a lot of things, but they maybe do not have the right tools or the right networks yet. So, the focus should also be, while we are building out our community, we should also look beyond Bangalore or the metros and see how we can get that community together. So yeah, these were a few points I wanted to touch upon, but overall, yes, Jagat, whatever, we should certainly, and I'm sure everyone who's listening to us today would, be benefited from the toolkit and can use it according to how they prefer.
Good to have some friends with us. Chetak, who's running a fantastic company. Good to have you, Chetak. Let us know. I just want to enable my raise hand. 1 second. I want to see if anybody wants to come. I'm not sure if you guys are ready to get online, but please feel free to. I have enabled the raise hand. Akhil as well. If you want to join us, feel free to pop in. I'm going to keep this open for like 5 minutes and then we shut off 1 hour. It's been really nice. I mean, really happy to reinitiate some of these sessions. Great to have you with us again, Ayushree. And I'm pretty sure that we're going to do a lot more of this and really push out the value. I don't know. Anyway, nice to have all you guys with us. Chetak, Manish, and Sukumaran. There is Akhil. Hi, Akhil. Welcome. Akhil, of course, is yes, Akhil, you're live now.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, there's an echo because I have it at the other tab. Just 1 minute.
You can exit. Yeah. Yes, Akhil. So tell me what's happening. You seem to be at the warehouse.
I'm at the office.
Right. So how are things? What's happening?
Things are going on well. We're switching customers from Zoom, where building out a webinar product, adding more features, adding the whiteboard, which is coming up soon in the webinars as well.
Yeah. So some super awesome updates as well. We're going to have a brand new whiteboard. We also are going to roll out new versions of our mobile apps very soon. So everyone can, look forward to that. You also can look forward to a lot of new innovations on the integrations across and other verticals, right? So our healthcare product, video surveillance, robotics. I think we have a lot of very, very exciting things coming forward. So thanks, Akhil, for
Thank you.
all of the good stuff, and keep it going. All right. So we're coming to the close of today. Got 5 minutes left. So probably, parting words from you, Ayushree, and then it's Tata bye-bye.
Yeah, Jagat. So I think we had quite a, it was an impressive thing that you put together. And it was very interesting to talk about this, because I think we hear it a lot, just putting it all together and sharing with the community that you, Vijeta, all, and now I'm privileged to be a part of. So it's pretty important. And I look forward to doing a few more sessions like this, talking to a lot of people in the ecosystem, learning about their challenges, their journeys, and how we can collaborate and go forward. I think collaboration is the key, and not competition anymore is something I have always believed in, and I have seen the results of it too. So I think that's our focus. That's going to be our focus. And even at Vidphone, like you and Akhil just mentioned, we have been building quite a few tools that will really help the startups, and I know a few of them. I can really see that it will really help them, to make it all organized, basically, not run between three or four softwares to get the work together. So these things, and obviously everyone should look out for all the interesting things that's coming up, and we'll plan more such sessions ahead so that we keep this community growing. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yes. Super awesome. So it's been a fantastic time for me to also, share thoughts with all of this wonderful audience. And thanks, Ayushree, for joining in. And thanks, Vijeta, as always, for coming in. Thanks to Akhil, and all of our viewers, right? And we will be doing different sessions. So I hope to see all of you in the other sessions as well. Whether this is recorded or you're seeing this live, would love to connect with you very, very soon. All right. Have a great weekend, guys. And thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. See you guys soon. Bye.